Call is being recorded.
That's right. Welcome to the call, everybody. This is our Monday night call. We're going into our 8th year. That's right. Going into our 8th year of doing this. And that's staying power. And the reason that we have so much staying power is because we move in truth. We operate in honor. We never tell people to do things you're not supposed to go do. I show you how to do things the right way. We show you how to follow the manual. And not only when you follow the manual, you get the opportunity to hold others accountable. And speaking of accountability, those of you guys might have remembered a video that was posted up, and basically it was in Smith County, or in Smith County, Texas, and these guys are getting pulled over, and then you see the cops like break in and go into this woman's house, because we don't know who anybody is at the time, but anyway, breaks into his house and goes in and arrests these guys, takes them all to jail, takes everybody to jail. Why? Because they're just a bunch of punk bullies. That's why. Yeah, I know that's not a very nice thing to say, but if it's your 8.5, buddy, it's your 8.5. That's all I got to say about that. So we got both of you guys on the call. The Phillips brothers, I love it. Yeah, it's like we're getting the band back together. It's awesome. Anyway, so welcome you guys to the call. We got Derek and Landley. You can't have any speakers on. You guys have speakers on, you're going to have all kinds of echo mania. If you run on earbuds or earphones, you're good. Yeah, you'll have to run on some earbuds. I'm sorry, you guys, or some kind of earbuds or something. I'm not sure. I've never actually been very successful in running this thing. Usually you get a lot of throwback when you do that. So, or somebody has to mute and we have to talk one at a time, like walkie-talkies. Remember how we used to do it when we were kids? Okay, hold on. You listen in the code. Anyway, while they're getting their stuff together here, and I'll probably just mute out and let them just say their thing. Maybe if that's what we have to do, that's fine, and that's cool. We can do that too. But anyway, these guys have really stood against the odds. These guys have really tested the boundaries of where they are. And you know what? We need to do that in America. We need to test our boundaries. You know, if your law enforcement is not transparent to the public, they're breaching the public trust. Plain and simple. And we got a lot of that. We got these guys in there masquerading around. It's like a little mafia like they do here on TikTok. And when they see things they don't like, they attack them. We have rights and liberties in this country. And there are people that will spill blood for this. And then there are people that will just spill blood and finish the job all at the same time. And I'm not saying that these guys are violent, because they're definitely not violent in any way. I've had the pleasure of meeting them both. I've had the pleasure of being able to just hang out with both of them. And I mean, they're just decent church-going people and normal people. And they, exactly, Patrick's saying, they were viciously attacked. For what? Because they had the answers before these idiots had a problem? That's exactly right. That's exactly right. If you really want to sum it all up in a nutshell, these guys had all the answers and knew they were going to catch themselves a big rat. And then when the big rat stepped in the trap, Lance is over there playing the drums. I mean, I would be too. And we should. We should. We absolutely should. Because if we don't, we're going to have a lot of secrets. And we don't need secrets. Look at how they're doing it in France. You know, in France, by the way, they got free health care. That's right, because they'll burn the place down if they don't give it to them. Yeah. Scared. And we're supposed to be freer than them. You see everybody on the 4th of July. Look how free we are. Sit down, be quiet. Okay. Sitting down right now. Thank you very much. You know, they say here on TikTok, we got freedom of speech. So you upset somebody. Oh, that's hateful. If you disagree with anybody, it's hateful. But this is for educational purposes only. Ha, ha, ha. And it's not here to offend anybody. And that was for the critics. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead without further ado. It looks like they're ready. I'm going to mute out, and I'm going to give them the floor. I'm going to let them just tell you everything that's going on, where they're at, what they've done so far. You know, if you guys have been watching my page on TikTok, you notice that I post Constitution stuff a lot, you know, and excessive bail is a violation of your constitutional rights. And he's going to tell you about this outrageous. Now, I have seen some outrageous bonds, and I am certainly, I've experienced them myself personally. but nothing like this. This is Michael Jackson stuff. Anyway, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mute out, and I'm gonna hand them the floor. Take it away. And I want to introduce you to the future sheriff of Smith County, Lance Phillips. Lance, it's your floor, sir.
And I'm glad to be on the call. So I'm gonna back up to let's see. It all started in March when my brother and my adopted brother Cody, Storm Voss, were arrested. One for they arrested Cody for not failure to present ID, and it all started with a brake light. But yet the kicker is they had his ID in their hand, which is a government passport, whenever they arrested him for failure to ID. So like they were just grasping at straws to see how can we get this man in cuffs, to make some money off of him. But and then 5 days later, they came back and arrested my mom because of the sheriff just hates my family. And it's been that way for 12 years here in Smith County, Texas, but which is Tyler, Texas. Now, so how crazy is that my mom's face is plastered all over the news and, she got arrested. Well, we found out that the sheriff has released the footage, the body cam footage that we've been asking for to give to us so we can do our due diligence with the federal lawsuits going forward and all of that. And they have 10 days to release this information. Well, they didn't release this information to us. They gave it to the news media, just willing it. Like, you're supposed to file a FOIA, a Freedom of It, right? Yeah. So they screwed up in one way because they didn't blur out our phone numbers, our addresses, our telephone, our social, all of that stuff, right? So these are other lawsuits that if we want to go file against KLTV, Channel 7, CBS 19, and then we've got KTK and another one that I can't remember, 56, but Fox 9 or something like that. But all of these companies have run all this information, and my brother calls them up after getting a attorney general decision, which is crazy. My mom says, you don't know how hard it is to get the attorney general of Texas to write you back. And here it is. Derek just gets it in the mail. Okay, y'all have to delete this information. Like, it's not legal. Y'all are breaking the law. Derek calls up the president of CBS. Hey, you guys have till midnight to delete that footage of our family that you're making so much money off of. They had 3.2 million hits on YouTube. That's just that one platform. And just to get to that point of the story, but Derek got them to delete it. They deleted the footage. So the law's on our side. God's on our side. We've been praying that the truth will come out, and everything that they've done in darkness will be shown in light. And not just the events of March, but everything that's gone, 160 years of this slavery system that we've been in, of, the birth certificates and not being under common law and public law. Everything that they're doing now to us is public policy. What did they so my mom wanted me to, kind of stay off the record, and my thought was, no, I want to get it on the record. So I wanted to go to commissioner's court and talk about what their officers are out here doing. And well, they didn't like that very much, and they were intimidating me. They had about 20 officers in the courtroom. And if you don't know what commissioner's court, they're the people that are over the budget of the county. So they're in charge of the jail budget, the sheriff's budget, the road budget. They set budgets and road and bridge, that kind of thing. Like
about the one time that Cody and I tried to go talk to the commissioners.
Oh, yes. So Derek and Cody and myself and a few other people, we were going to be on the record. And it was supposed to be an easy day. It was just going to be wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And so that particular day, there weren't that many officers in the courtroom like they have been. They've been packing the courtroom. The sheriff, anybody that he can order to be in the courtroom, the commissioner's court on 9:30 on Tuesday mornings, he orders them to be there as a form of intimidation against the public to not speak. And what they've done since I've started speaking at Commissioner's Court, now you have to there's a bailiff. The bailiff stands about 1.5 feet behind you. In case you step out of line and say something that they don't like, he can grab the microphone and pull the mic off and push you away from the podium. But so I wanted to go get everything that was said on the record. Well, my friend Brenda Bamberg, she cares a lot about the mental illness that goes on here in the jails. They're literally running retarded people through the jails. And if you're offended at that word, you should be offended that they're running retarded people through the jails, more so than that word, right? Okay, this is crazy. They arrested me for 60 days. I got to see firsthand some of the issues of mental illness that's going on. These people they're arresting people for walking across the street, or walking on the wrong side of the street. Not even jaywalk. It's like, oh, you're walking on the wrong side of the street. What do you mean? There's no wrong side of the street to walk on. There's a sidewalk and you walk on. What? Like I'm just flabbergasted at all of this stuff that I found out that's going on. But they actually sent me out of the county. Go ahead. They didn't want me knowing too much about Smith County Jail, so they sent me to Gregg County Jail because they knew I would be building a coalition like I'm doing anyway. And so we shut down Commissioner's Court. We actually ran one of the commissioners out the back of the door, which it wasn't anything of our doing except for saying John Moore. He faked his own death. He said he was deathly ill, and he wanted to. We FOIA'd all this information. So if they would give us the information that the public deserves to have, and it's public information, we pay the county, or the citizens of the county pay for these people to have a cell phone. So when we do that, now whatever you talk about is county business on that phone. So you need to tell us what you're talking. You need to tell us who you're talking to if we ask, who are you texting, who are you emailing. And
then the corruption is being covered up by Lee Correa, because whenever we file a FOIA request, what happens is they say no, and then they go, we're going to give it to our lawyer. And then
Correct.
They hand it over to their lawyer, Lee Correa. And then Lee Correa is saying, no, I'm not going to give you what you've asked for. So then that's why I've contacted the Attorney General. The Attorney General wrote a letter back to me saying, yes, they do have to give it to you. So I've told Lee Correa, hey, you got an Attorney General opinion saying that you do have to give me what we've asked for. And she's turned around and said, no, I'm still not going to give it to you. Right. She goes, I'm not going to give it to you until the judge rules that what these crimes that the officers have committed is qualified immunity. Once it's ruled qualified immunity, then we'll release the video footage of what they've done. And I'm like, that's not how it works. But yet, guess what's happening? She's still holding on to these. After the Attorney General told her to give them to me, she still told them no. She goes, I'm above the Attorney General. My name's Lee Correa. I'm above the Attorney General, and I'm not giving you anything. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. And I've known this lady for over 40 years of my life, or almost 40 years of life.
Quick thing on that. When you need to send her a notice of default, or and basically letting her know that her office is not performing, and there's some codes I'll share with you on that, on how that works, and that involves administrative remedy. And then you need to propose a per diem per day that they do not. So some kind of dollar amount per day. Okay, that's fine. So per the order, you have, it's going to be so many dollars per day for every day that you don't want to obey this, because this is coming from your boss. And I'm going to tell you that, it's very common for them to do this. And we only have an hour, guys. So hold on just a second. I want to flip back and forth. Cody's actually on the call as well. And I wanted Cody to come in, and wow, look at that. It's like the Incredible Hulk is cooking in there. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Those of you guys that are interested in how Tim Dameron funds his trust, he's in machine number 2 right there. That's where he is right there. Yeah. You see him? That's mine. And this is how I fund my trust. And it's a tax-free way to fund your trust. It's very profitable. It takes a little bit of an investment. If you guys are interested in learning how to do that, send me an inbox and I will send you these beautiful men's information and they will help you. Now, without further ado, Cody, where'd you go? Are you still here, Cody? Did we lose Cody? Hold on a second. I think we lost Cody. We did. We lost Cody. Hey, so when we get there tomorrow, you can tell him that we tried. All right. So the other thing I wanted to ask you guys too, when they went up there, his charge right now, he's being charged. I wanted you to go over your charge. He's being charged with his initial charge right now. And the reason they held him for 60 days in jail is literally to oppress him. Those of you guys that are your law scholars and you like to look up stuff, look up Texas Senate House Bill 1043. It says on misdemeanor charges like this, they have to have you in court in 30 days. They have to be ready for trial in 30 days. That's the law. That's right. And if they don't, then they violate your right to speedy trial. Now, this isn't legal advice. This is personal. For me, it's personal because I'm going through exactly the same thing. And I have a 21-page motion to dismiss on the grounds of violation of my right to speedy trial. See, your right to speedy trial has been violated now because they held you in jail for 60 days. You had no right to assert your right for speedy trial. So automatically your case is dismissed. It's done. It's just a matter of filing the motion. But you've got a bigger animal to skin there because these guys aren't following the coloring books. So what we got to do is we got to step it up. And that's exactly what he's doing. Now, those of you guys that are interested in moving to Smith County after he becomes sheriff, drop me an email box. We'll put you in touch with a qualified realtor. We'll get you helped out. Anyway, in the meantime, I'm going to pass things back to him because I don't see Cody here. And if I do see Cody, I will bring him back in. So I'm going to pause real quick and go through the whole bond thing that you guys went through. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare. Hold on.
Okay, so my initial charge was disrupting a meeting because, like I was saying, my adopted grandma, my friend Brenda Bamberg, she stood up. She had the floor during the public comment portion of the commissioners meeting, and she was talking about the mental health issues and the basically the sheriff lying on the record. He goes on the news to say people have guns whenever they don't, like minors. They're charged a minor with. Okay, that's another story. And all I said was, let her speak, let her speak, let her speak. And no one on the board of the commissioners reacted to my saying that. Their heads didn't whip around. I wasn't screaming. It was at a tone the room could hear. Right? Okay. And so one of the bailiffs come over and says, you need to come with me. Well, I'm not going with you. For what? Like, you were harassing me before the meeting with Neil Franklin, so y'all could avoid me speaking on the record. And now you're attempting to prevent me again. So, no, I'm not coming with you. So I sat down on the floor and I let them drag me out. Like, if you want me to go with you, then you can drag me out of here. You can take me with you, So that was powerful for the camera. The only thing I would have done differently is once I left the room, I would not have stood up. I would have let them drag me all the way to the car. But that was a $500 bond for a misdemeanor. And they wanted to set my trial August 16th. But guess what? They don't want to set it August 16th. They keep moving stuff. Oh, they're not following the laws, like Tim said. They're not following the laws that they want us to follow. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to do to have my fair day in court, and I was half pro se representing myself because that's what I wanted to be, but I was forced into contracting with them. He held me in contempt for 3 days because I didn't want to deal with the form. The judge literally told me to shut up. No more talking from you. No more talking from you. That was the quote he says. You're going to deal with the form. And I said, I'm not saying I won't sign this. I just want to know what's going to happen next because right now you're railroading me through this process, and so he says, and I said, well, do I have the Fifth Amendment, not right to be silent and not self-incriminate myself? Oh, of course you have that right. Well, what, except for right now when you're forcing me to sign this paper, right? And, he didn't like all this. I'm recording this from my phone in my pocket. Well, during an 11-minute hearing, there were 15 mistakes made, and I don't call them mistakes. They're outright lies and omissions. He literally told his court reporter to change this, don't put this in there, like parts where we were both talking. You literally get every single word we both said, but there's parts where only I was talking, and it says unintelligible, both speaking at the same time or something. And I'm like, I have the recording, man. Are you gonna let me put this on the record. And how's that going to go whenever I've been told, how many violations of due process does it take to throw the case out? And the answer is just one. And I've had many violations of due process. Yeah, at least that he can count. So, let's go back to so I want my fair day in trial, right? My court-appointed lawyer will not return my calls. He talked to me for 60 seconds and said, I don't think you're crazy. I want to help you. And I asked him, I said, since the DA won't talk to me, I want you to ask them, what are they offering me? So they said, we're offering you 10 days in jail and a mandatory psych eval. Oh, really? Because I said, let her speak, let her speak, let her speak. No, thank you. I laughed in their face. I'm not doing that. And so I'm out here filing my own motions, filing my own subpoenas. I paid a civil process server to go and serve the sheriff of the county, Larry Smith, the man who was running the meeting, the head commissioner, Neil Franklin, and the bailiff who put the cuffs on me and wrote a false arrest report, the affidavit that he signed his name to. And that was Lieutenant Lazarine. Okay,
Matt,
so
just call him Lazarine.
Matt Lazarine, yeah. And yeah, their first name. I'm just letting people know their positions in the county. But so whenever I paid the civil process server to do that, my paperwork was missing the stamp from the county clerk, which just so happens to be my mom. But so it didn't have that stamp on there, which makes the paperwork invalid, not illegal. So what they were doing was they're going to charge me with a crime, but getting as much money from me as they can. But this is a policy. This is not public law. This is public policy. So where do they get the right to try me under these policy and procedures law nonsense versus common law, public law? And so they arrested me. I was in town at a county building, and they arrested me 3 days after I had bonded out on another charge. And that they set my bond at $550,000 for 3 charges of a misdemeanor, which is simulating the legal process. No one's ever been arrested. I can guarantee it. No one gets arrested for this. Simulating the legal process. No one except for me, right? Okay. So that's insane. Oh, you've been really? I did not know that, Timothy. That's crazy. Wow, that's a story in itself, huh? But so I sat in there for 60 days. As soon as I realized what my bond was and I wasn't going to be getting out, I told my mom, send me a Bible. So I was there for a reason. I learned a lot and got my day in court, which I was sending letters to the judge, to the DA, to all this. I said, and they know the whole reason why I believe it was set that high is because I offend them when I call them liars and Satanists and demons and all of this, which is exactly what they are. But I've offended them. So, you offended me. Now you're going to be on pretrial probation. Now you're we're gonna get a warrant for your email, this, that, and the other. Look, we don't do anything. Right, stole my cell phone twice, came in my home twice. Like, they're so screwed. They got the initial crime that they did. They should have just admitted they were wrong and corrected it right then. But no, it's gonna keep on. We got to cover this up with another crime. We got to get their cell phones. We got to get my mom's cell phone. Like, So September 29th, had my day in court, and my public defender that I've told them I wanted fired long time ago, Christian Johnson, evil man. He's so evil. He tried to say, he literally was actively working against me. He put in a motion suggesting incompetence, which, okay, it's a little offensive, but I don't take that much offense to it. The part that I take offense to is, if I would have failed the doctor's test, which I know I'm competent because the questions they ask you are, what's a jury? What's innocent? What's a judge? What's not guilty? What's prison? That is if you know what those things are, now you're competent. But he told me, the doctor says, there's really, really smart people out there that have failed these competency hearings. I said, well, could you be the really smart person that knows nothing about law? And hopefully God was with me, because it could have gone really bad. And the offensive part, like I was saying, is you sit in a county jail waiting for 3 years for a mental health bed at a mental health facility to open up so they can basically strap you down to a bed and force drug you to make your mind good and right. And yeah, everything's great. The government loves you. And the side note, govern means to control, and the mente in Latin means mind. So government literally means to control the mind. And that's what they want to do with all of us. And, with the whole COVID thing and all of that, I'm surprised that anyone trusts the government anymore after going through what we've been through with that. But don't take the vaccines. That's just a side note. So yeah, my bond. So I go in there. I've got like 8 motions in front of the court, and so one of them was to reduce my bond, to fire the lawyer. He says, "Well, what do you want to reduce it to?" And I said, "Well, the fine is only $4,000. So if you might multiply that by 3, that's 12,000. So how about $20,000 bond? Just so you know." Well, he says, "Well, I'll do 40,000 times 3." Oh, you still reduced it, but you're still out of your. When I was in there the day he arrested me for contempt, this judge's name is Clay White. I asked him. I had to ask him 3 times if he was on his oath to the Constitution. And the 3rd time, he said, "I'm always on my oath." Oh, really? This is the same person. He says, "I'm going to guarantee you get a fair trial." But when I try to have a fair trial and call in my accusers to face them and tell them to bring these documents to court, oh, what do? You get another 3 charges and you get 60 days in jail. How dare you try to face your accusers in a court of law? And I knew that once I served these people or had them served from the civil process server, we would not have a trial. So I've got apparently it's going forward. They want to have a trial in like 10 days. It's on the 25th, I think, but I don't see it going forward just because of everything. Yeah, I don't see it going forward. Like, it's all going to come out. It's going to crash. But if I left anything out, I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure I might. Well, here's one other thing. I didn't talk about the evading. So there's another judge involved. Okay, so yeah, the Curtis Wolf is the man's name. Now back to the original thing that happened in March. Cody's got a didn't failure to show ID and a brake light. Okay, so they were going forward with Cody's trial, which they were not supposed to, pushing things forward. So I was there because I wanted to see if they were going to follow the law. Okay, this is a little JP court out in Winona, Texas. I walk in. Hey, is Cody's name on the docket? I asked the court clerk. Oh, yes, it's on there. Okay, well, can I read the letter that Cody sent to you guys and he wants me to read on the record? She says, yeah, sure. Then without me asking the question again, that turns into, well, we're going to, the DA is going to come down here. I said, oh, really? He's coming down here? Jacob Putman? That's interesting. He's going to drive 25 minutes over here to Winona. No, actually, he's sending his assistants. Okay, well, it ends up being 4 assistants to come down to talk to me. But yet when I get there, oh, they don't want to talk to me. So they call the roll, the docket. Cody Voss versus State of Texas. Oh, assistants of counsel's present, me. Are you Mr. Voss? He's trying to get me to lie on the record and say I'm Cody, which obviously I wasn't going to do because he knows who I am and I know. All right. No, I'm assistants of counsel, right? Like I just told you. So also when the judge entered the courtroom and all rise, we're supposed to all rise because the judge walks in with the Bible, not because a judge, God walks in. But I got my butt up about that far from the seat, but I was bowed down the whole time. So I just he knew it was a sign of disrespect on my part, right? By not standing up all the way for him, right? So because there's no law that says I can't speak for my brother Cody because I don't have a bar card. There's none of that, right? So so they says, well, Mr. Phillips, the DA doesn't want to talk to you. Well, why the heck did they drive all the way across town then if they don't want to talk to me, right? Like, why are they here? Why are there 4 assistant DAs here that don't want to talk to me? That's different and weird. Okay. Then, so I said, okay. And he says, Mr. Phillips, you're free to leave. And I said, well, this is a public courtroom, so I'm just going to hang out until the DA leaves. And, oh, that was a slap in the face. He didn't like that. So next thing he says is, I'm telling you to leave right now. And I'm like, okay. And I stood up and I said, under threat of arrest, I will leave, but let the record show that Curtis Wolf is a criminal. And I said, Curtis Wolf is a criminal 2 more times, and I'm out the courtroom. My last time I said Curtis Wolf is a criminal, I crossed that line. I'm out the door. Like, I'm not in your courtroom anymore. You have no more power over me. You can't call contempt for someone that's in the parking lot or in the hallway. Once it's after that, I'm not in your courtroom anymore. Sorry I offended you. So he calls the constable, which is to do his dirty work, and says, go get that man and arrest him for contempt.
Josh Joplin.
Josh Joplin is the constable's name. So I just skedaddled down the hallway, and I told Josh, don't follow illegal orders. When the devil tells you to do something evil, wrong, sinful, whatever, you tell him, go do it yourself, So that's what he should have done. And so it was not a lawful order for me to be arrested for contempt, which we found out that contempt has to be an appealable decision. You have to be able to appeal that contempt. You just can't say, I'm going to throw you in jail for an unlimited amount of time. Okay. Because that's all these judges really have is contempt. You'll hear them screaming all that. I'm going to hold you for contempt. Oh, really? That's all you got? Because they can't. All right. Well, so then Josh is screaming at me, well, I'm going to get you for evading too. Well, okay. Well, no, whatever. We'll go to trial on all of it. It's all going to come out. So Josh says, I run. I take off running, run across the highway, stay gone a couple days. And they're looking for me hard on a misdemeanor. He never even touched me. He never had his hands on me. I was not even in the courtroom. Like, there's some big things that are like kind of tenets of the whole thing. He never told me I was under arrest. That's a big one right there. So then I wanted to play the 911 call in court of me calling 911. So what did I do? I called 911 right then. Josh Joplin is trying to attack me. He's trying to arrest me and hold my body ransom for He's trying to kidnap me and hold me for ransom. And guess what they did? They when they got me, they held me for $105,000 ransom. That's what they did. Exactly what I said they were doing, they did. So, how is that a lie? Well, so then they charged me with calling 911. But when we read the law, it was a fake, something like a fake 911 call or something like this or that. But when we read the law, it says that an officer has to be injured. Okay, well, no officer was injured, so Smith County's already dropped that case, right? There's no case there, and they knew that was going to happen. So yeah, the evading, even it's in their mind, it's up here over the disrupting of the meeting, and so they want to go with that one first, right? And they want to try to hang me on that one, so the other ones they've already offered me time served. They said everything will go away if you just say time served for those 60 days you spent in jail. And so in the DA, plead guilty to something you didn't do, but I would never suggest that. And so the DA, whenever he was making the deal, he didn't even know if I was getting 2 for 1 or 3 for 1. So are you offering me 120 days? Or are you offering me 180 days? Because there's a big difference there. What is it 2 for 1 or is it 3? He didn't know, so And real quick, I asked him, I said, so you're asking me to rip up a multi-million-dollar winning lottery ticket in front of your face right here, and I'm not that stupid. I'll see you in trial. Yeah, POS. Let's see what Cody's got to say about anything. Is he there? At least he is.
Yeah, Cody's here. Hold on, man. Let's get him on. Hey, Cody, how you doing, buddy? Let's get you unmuted here, man. Welcome, man. I'm so glad that you're here. And, and I just wanted you guys to have a platform. I mean, it seems like every platform you guys end up on, it seems like the cops are like underwriting y'all's platforms or something. Oh shit, they're out of the cage again. Let's get them off the thing. Excuse my language, but I mean, I'm serious. It seems like, I don't know. Have you ever watched Cheech and Chong? You ever watch a Cheech and Chong movie? I mean, other than the part of them smoking grass, here's the other part that, because that's the funny part, but the part that is continuous about them and in every movie is that there's always cops stopping them for no reason. It's like somebody's always underwriting every action that they're doing. And I feel like that's kind of the situation with you guys in Smith County. Like somebody up there has, just is just really over the top and has really got it out for you guys. And I just don't get it. What are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are, a lot of people like to say, oh, this all started with the taillight, but that's not really the truth. The truth is, right, the way that it's supposed to be, an officer puts on his emergency light. If I pull over on the private property, I'm on common law, right? My birth certificate's authenticated. I'm not in this maritime admiralty law. But in terms of the corruption of Smith County, it all started because of the address that the cop pulled me over allegedly, right? It's all because of this county's deep level of corruption, and the amount of ridiculousness that has come from all this, from them having a judge that recuses himself over a tail light, right? Them trying to make a guy come from Utah to speak on their behalf, the prosecutor, the DA's behalf, to prove that my little small, whatever, $200 infraction, when my bond's already been paid, which is more than that, and I spent the night in jail, because they all went on the grounds. When they arrested Derek that night, when they arrested Karen a week later, they haven't pressed any charges. It's been months. It's been almost a year now, and there's been nothing going on. And as anyone can see, it's public record. You can look up. Me and Derek are suing the county of Smith for around $150 million based on a breach of contract, because these sheriffs, they're able to contract with people, right? They can write you a ticket and they can contract with you. Well, when they're pulling on the private property, they were contracting with us in full
That's
common
right.
law jurisdiction. So
That's
what
right.
they don't realize is, and maybe they do, and I hope they do, and that's why they're trying to. We got to nip it in the bud, right? Because they're like, we're gonna come after the Phillips family because we've hated them for a long time. Because the Commissioner Terry Phillips is, in my opinion, he's done good things. They've tried to put up traffic light or lights on every single traffic light, or what am I saying? Oh, cameras. They're trying to put cameras on all, and he said no, and all of Texas followed suit. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And they don't, and what it is the truth is, there is a direct retaliation, harassment, even stalking of the Phillips family, even myself, right? When I'm in Tyler, a cop double looks and sees me, I have nothing wrong. Everything I'm doing is completely legal, tags, everything is all in order. But he sees my face and he harasses and he stalks me for about 30 minutes. I can't even have to pull into a random driveway and then choreograph this whole thing just so I can get away safely, and it took about a team of 2 other people. And it's just insane that a judge who recused himself is still trying to tell my assistant to counsel, Lance, who appeared on my behalf because he knew there was criminal activity and he was going to observe it, right? And if my name wasn't on the docket, he probably would have left. But he said, okay, well, y'all said that y'all rescheduled. His name is on the docket. The DA said they're coming to speak to him. And then the judge has the nerve to reference the DA and Lance to a case. He's saying, oh, well, are you Cody? A perfect response would have been like, well, have you recused yourself from the case involving Cody? I don't think you can speak here, Judge. I don't think you can speak here, Judge. This is between me and the DA, right? He's trying to denote Lance. Really, he was the one in contempt of court. You can't put somebody in contempt when it's not a court of record, and I've verified that with the clerks, Mindy Hukill, the court clerk of the JP Precinct 4 Winona. This is all because of you can look at the officer who pulled us over that night. Of course, the one who went into the house without a warrant and arrested Derek, he doesn't work there anymore. He worked in Utah. He's transferred up there. And then he stopped working there. And then now he's doing some little farm stuff. But Jonathan Peters, the cop who put his name on the ticket, he's getting to go out to exclusive dinners and with all these elected officials. And he's the only rookie there. He's the only rookie there, chilling with Larry Smith and all these people. And we have picture evidence of all this stuff. and they want to play these games. Lee Korea, and I don't think they'll, hear this on this platform, but I kind of hope they do. Lee Korea knows that now we're in a federal jurisdiction, right? This is not the first time they've been accused or held accountable for some fucked up shit. But this is the first time that it's happened, and there's been someone that has credibility, that has the name to be able to take these scoundrels down. And it's about time. And it's inevitable. It truly is. And that's why they hate Lance so much, right? Because, they held him this whole time right before elections started, right? Because he's been talking about running for sheriff, and many people were wanting him to be sheriff and still do. But here's the thing, right? Sheriff Larry Smith knows he's corrupt and he's a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Lance knows how to run. He was the one who personally knocked for Terry and knocked on all these doors. He knocked more than anyone. He knows how to campaign. The people know him, right? He's the first person. They want to shut him up. They want to make him look crazy. They want to try to denote all of us and create hate speech, try to throw us into some sort of sovereign citizen hate speech, demographic, when really we're just free people who know our constitutional rights.
Well, here's the reality. These guys are the sovereign citizens. Because let's look at what a sovereign citizen is. A sovereign citizen is somebody that thinks the rules don't apply to them. And I mean, I've been hearing 30 minutes of that. So, they
simulate legal process every day.
That's what I'm
legal
saying.
Process every single day, and yet they're going to charge Lance for that.
Exactly. And here's the other thing too, is that it's not really simulating legal process. To simulate legal process in the state of Texas, from my understanding, is to get someone to submit to the punitive authority of a document that isn't filed or isn't fraudulently being pursued into a court. What you guys have is just those little court errors. That doesn't mean his intent wasn't to have it filed in court. His intent was to have it filed in court. So there's no simulating a legal process there. Houston County, Texas arrested me for simulating legal process. And I had to post a $1,500 bond, nothing like you had to post, but still $1,500 for a Class A misdemeanor is really kind of a joke, considering all I wrote. I helped somebody write a 3-day pay or quit letter, and it happened to be a relative of the county clerk that was living in somebody else's house. And this the person that I knew was a widow, and she was this relative of the county clerk had done a real estate contract with her on notebook paper. No kidding. They really had it notarized on notebook paper. Anyway, and she'd stopped paying the taxes on the property. And so I guess she was coming out to the property to worship and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, she just asked for help. And so I wrote a letter for her and asked and gave her a 3-day pay or quit. And after that, the county clerk decided to rev her little nonsense up and send Jerry Kalin out to come arrest me for simulating legal process because I wrote a letter. Same stuff, different channel. And I'm telling you, these guys are a bunch of one-trick ponies. Like, I hear everything that you're saying, Cody, and all of you guys. And they've done exactly the same thing to me over the last 4 years in Houston County. They've tried to defame us, show that we're not trying to help the public and that we don't stand for our vets. We love our vets. And
they don't have a lot of wiggle room. It's either contempt, simulating legal process. They got to make up some bullshit.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is. It's a cowload of exactly that. And it's got to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is zero tolerance. And this is what I see in the three of you guys. And this is why we are so behind you guys. We want to help you in any way that we can. My viewers, we've got a ton of viewers that watch the YouTube channel. If you guys want more information on how to help these guys, send me a private message. Set an appointment with me with houseofyah.communityoutreach.com. I will put you in touch with these guys. And here's another thing too. Call Smith County and ask them what's going on, what's happening. And then that there's that guy that's on YouTube, the What's Happening guy. If anybody find out where that guy is, we need to hire that guy. The What's Happening guy. The guy goes over there and he smacks people around and stuff. We need to hire that guy. You can find that guy. I like that guy. The What's Happening guy. You know what I'm talking about, right? Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Hey, so what I was gonna say is one thing that I'm still kind of mind blown about is myself and my mother were both arrested. I know Cody
For nothing.
Well, we were arrested for nothing. You're right, but
Yeah.
you know, when we were arrested, the DA, Jacob Putman, went on the news and he said, we're not going to pursue charges on Derek or Karen because they are both related to Terry Phillips, the commissioner, and that would be a conflict of interest. Well, then they arrested Lance, and Lance, I guess he's the son of the commissioner. He's my brother. So they I don't know why Jacob Putman felt that it was a need to pursue charges on him, but and that wasn't a conflict of interest. So
Yeah.
now we have both been arrested, and we're still sitting here. They've taken our money. They've taken over $10,000, and you know, for between all of us, me and my mom and Cody.
Wow.
And now we have nothing. Like, they're just holding it over our heads. They haven't filed any kind of charges with the court. Yeah, they said they can hold it for 2 years. They could file charges 2 years from now or something. So
Wow.
Either way,
actually, House Bill 1043 says that I'll send it to you. Well, actually, if you look at the motion, I'll send it to you on my motion. I'll bring it down there because we're going to see each other tomorrow anyway. But and I'll show it to you. And House Bill, and let me just, you know what, real quick, let me just read it. I'm going to read it to everybody. That way, in case your friends out in Tyler are watching, we'll put them on notice too. Senate Bill 1043 and the right to a speedy trial standard in Texas, and determining whether or not after arrest, this is from the Department of Justice, by the way, in determining whether or not a delay after an arrest had violated the defendant's 6th and 14th Amendment right to a speedy trial, the U.S. Supreme Court has articulated a balance test from the decision of Baker versus Wingo. Baker versus Wingo, if you guys want to look that up, 1972. Courts must look at the length of the delay, the reason for the delay, and the defendant's assertion of his right and his prejudice to the defendant under the State of Texas Speedy Trial Act. There is no requirement of showing prejudice, although a motion for discharge must be made before trial. An interval in which the swift prosecutor, Let me just get to the part where it says what they're supposed to do. All right. Let's see. If the commencement of a criminal, if the misdemeanor is punishable by imprisonment of more than 180 days, the state must be ready for trial in 90 days. That means all of your FTAs or anything like that, they should have been ready within 3 months. If the punishment is less than 180 days, the state only has 60 days to prepare if the offense is punishable by fine only. So the prosecutor has a 30-day period to bring to action. So your simulating legal process is really punishable by fine only. So they had 30 days to bring you to court. All those other little sissy charges that they're throwing around up in the air, they had pretty much between 30, 60 days, and all those dates have expired. And that's the balance test. That's the Department of Justice balance test for that.
Right. They've all been expired, and then as well as the arresting officer has been fired. He doesn't work there anymore.
No credible witness.
He went to work for Utah Highway Patrol, and then when I found that out, I immediately contacted his supervisor at Utah Highway Patrol and sent over the affidavits that we had filed. And then shortly later, he wasn't working there anymore, and now I found out Colorado, and he's a welder, so he started his own welding company, and he's
a welder with no silk underwear. You know that happens when you sign up in Utah to be a cop. You have to get silk underwear. It's true.
I'm just happy that he's not going to be violating civilian rights anymore anywhere else, not just here in Texas, but anywhere. Like, that guy's dangerous as all get out, dude. He got his feelings hurt and attacked. He snapped, and I couldn't believe it. He was
emotionally compromised. Absolutely. And his training should have saved him. But instead of his training saving him, and I love telling people this, your training has failed you. I've told salespeople that. Just crushed them. Because salespeople are the biggest narcissist of all. So all you have to do is damage their little ego, a stone chip. That's it. They're all done. and they're ready just to go to the bathroom, and that's it. And I appreciate all of what you guys are doing. And look, I'm not telling everybody they need to raise hell across Texas, okay? And I'm not telling anybody else they need to raise hell anywhere else for that matter. What I am saying is this.
That's not even.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's not even our point, Timothy. And if you see that somebody who said that about me before in the past, it kind of upset me. But you can see that I got pulled over just about 3 days ago, and I've posted that stop. And I am not somebody who's out here trying to raise hell with all these police officers. I'm not trying to fight everybody. I literally I want to be left alone. But if they want to stop me, then here, take my papers and then go run them. I'm literally on the do not detain list, which is what I told those officers in Smith County, but they ignored me. So, either way, they ran my paperwork and let me go. The traffic stop or the stop that they consider a traffic stop was less than 3 minutes, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I'm not one trying to fight anybody. I didn't mean to off, but I didn't want to get that wrong.
No, I agree. And there's a right way to do things. And what we have to do is we have to walk in honor. Okay. We can't walk with our emotions. Look, I know we get a little upset because we talk about the stuff that we go through, and even a 4-letter word falls out here and there, even for me. So, and it's because we're emotionally involved. There's a syndrome it's called legal abuse syndrome. And it actually is a legitimate syndrome. And when you've been arrested, when you've been manhandled, when you've been beaten by the cops, when you've been publicly defamed by these officers in a town where you live, literally in Houston County, Jerry Kalin and a couple of the other idiots literally drove around town and talked to every single person that we helped, cut grass at their property, cleaned up their property, did whatever, and shook them down, wanted to know if we asked them for any money or anything. I was like, God, these people were relentless. And it's because they're desperate. It's because they just can't understand how somebody could walk the line, do things the right way, and have success. It's just genuine envy is what it really is. And these guys have always been this way. When we were in school, these guys were the guys that were picking their nose in line in school and looking dumb. And we were the ones going, look what he's doing. And they're like, oh, now you're the jerk for it. Yeah, no. You know what? Maybe we need a few more of those people. Maybe we need to, if our cops and our police officers are so fragile that their little egos can get tuned out that fast, then we're hiring the wrong people. We saw a town very close to where they're at that had, for 250 people, they had 50 cops in the town. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And these guys were just writing tickets like a business out there, right there on Lake Travis, I believe. And what town was that? What town was that? Do you guys remember?
Coffee City.
Coffee City. If you guys want to look that up, that happened. You know what? Some people stood up. Some people said some things and brought it to the city council's attention, showed what a criminal the sheriff actually really was. And that he had wiggled himself into a position where he had zero accountability and an open checkbook to go do whatever he wants. And you know what? It's up to us as the public to demand, not ask, demand transparency. And when these people don't give it, when these people are doing this kind of stuff to people, we don't want these kinds of people in public. We don't want these kinds of people representing us. Do you want a liar representing you? You have to ask yourself that. Do you want somebody of integrity? It blows me away how you can look at some of these politicians, like Governor Christie, you know what I mean? The one that couldn't stay out of rehab. Who in the hell gave him an application? How did he make it through the process? Because if that were the case, these fentanyl patients that are falling off with rotten arms and limbs and stuff ought to be able to get jobs in all kinds of places then. They ought to be getting jobs in politics everywhere. But apparently not. Apparently it's a private club with their own toys involved. And you know what? These mafias, that's what these are. These families that have rooted into your towns and rooted into your communities and created these nice little cushion places for themselves while they're oppressing the rest of the people, it's got to stop. It needs to stop right now. I'm seeing things happening even down where Juan's at in Mission. I'm seeing our DPS troopers saying, hey, you need to stand over there 1 minute, and then the next minute they're cutting holes in the fences and letting people in. It's got to stop. And the only way it's going to stop, ladies and gentlemen, is if we say something. Now, we have to learn how to speak to these people. We have to learn how to speak. We can't just rattle the cup across the thing anymore. It doesn't work like that anymore. They're not afraid of us. Do you hear me? They're not afraid of us. These cops and officials and things like that. I don't know who they're serving, but they're not serving the public because they're not afraid of the public. They're not afraid of hurting the public's feelings. They're not afraid of damaging the public in any way, shape, or form. And this is what I'm seeing. And I've been seeing this for a long time. A lot of you guys, in closing, a lot of you guys have seen why I got into all this. And it's because they use these court systems and they weaponize these court systems against me. And they took my kids from me for no reason at all. I've never had a domestic issue in my life. I've never had any kind of drugs, alcohol, came home, beat anybody up. Nothing like that. Never. But these people invented and created things and started casting on me. And they started speaking in a language that started making all of those lies feel very truthful and very on point when they weren't. That's witchcraft. And that's when you're dealing with a demon. We heard tonight what to do. These guys called him out and said, hey, man, you're a demon. How dare you do that? And if people are offended, then don't act like one. It's just that simple. We got to separate ourselves from the feelings police. We need to get under Yahweh's laws. We need to walk in Torah. And when you walk in Torah, Yahweh will be your redeemer. They're talking about, we talked about this in the opening. We know that we have Yahweh's support. I've been praying with these guys personally. And like I said, in my book, these people are good guys. In my book, all they want is transparency where they live. In my book, this is our future. This is what our future needs to be of. People like this. So for those of you that are out here that are listening to this right now, and you see things going on that you don't like, if you see an officer parked on private property, blacked out completely, and he's sitting there scoring traffic, you might want to stop and ask him why he's hiding from the public. He shouldn't be hiding from the public in his professional capacity. What if somebody needs him? How is somebody going to find you if you're over here hiding in the bushes, trying to write a ticket? Huh? Here's a good question to ask a police officer when you meet him. As soon as they start to build credibility for him, ask him how many bad officers did he put in jail this week? How many? How many did you do this year? I don't think you're doing your job. And it don't. We need to stop this. And the only way we can stop this is by living a life that's righteous in the eyes of Yahweh. And what happens is when we allow him to set our path straight, it creates a vibe, an equity vibe, you see, because everybody's acting as such. What happens if you get 15,000 gallons of water blowing out of nothing? You're going to have a whole lot of equity moving, aren't you? That's right. We need to get behind people like this. I recommend write letters to Smith County. Why are you doing this to these people? These people have an 8th Amendment right to not be threatened by these kinds of bonds, to not be oppressed, and not to have any cruel or unusual treatment. These are not okay. And and don't write Houston County on me because you're not going to fix those guys. They're hopeless. But we'll just keep getting them all fired. Did you hear me? Yep. We'll just keep getting them all fired, Daphne. That's right. Scooby-Doo Daphne, by the way. Not that Daphne. She's already spoken for. Anyway, I just want to thank all of you guys for being here tonight. Please keep us all in your prayers. Keep the Phillips brothers, Lance, and Derek in your prayers. Keep Cody in your prayers. This is what America is made of. We're falling apart. We're losing our country right now. You know why? Because people like this, they're trying to silence. People like me, they want to silence. People like Cody, they want to silence. People like Juan, they want to discredit him and they want to silence him too. You know why? Because he knows things. So if you're feeling like you're on the other side of that ball, praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh that you made the cut. Praise Yahweh that those guys see you as a person or an individual with so much inner vibration that you scare them. Praise Yahweh. And I encourage you to chase that. Whatever it is. No, there's no whatever it is. Get close to Yahweh and just chase it. He'll grow it in you and he'll show you. He'll show you how to get the stuff done. We do have a new class. We have a new class schedule up for this week. Also, in closing, we have for this month, for all the classes that are coming up. We've got everything coming up this month. We've got UCC and trust, travel and driving, and debt and equity. Those of you guys that are interested in operating in common law, enforcing your instruments, and more importantly, seeing what happens when all this stuff really hits the fan. These are the classes for you. Once you step out of the private, or once you step out of the public and you start operating in the private, you're going to notice right away that the city officials, public officials, they don't want to help you anymore. They don't care about you because you're not subservient to them anymore. See? Or maybe it's a feelings thing. I'm not sure what it is, but you know what? Yahweh's got the plan. He's the one that woke you up, and he's the one that's going to finish that work that he started in you. Don't get distracted with these teachers that are walking around with these big, majestic trees with no fruit on them. Because Yahweh says, I will curse those trees and I will throw them into the fire. Keep Israel in your prayers this week. And praise be to Yahweh for just all the things that he's doing. Keep Lance and everybody in your prayers tonight. And be blessed, everyone. Good night. Good night. Good night. We'll see you next week, 6 p.m. Central Time. Be blessed, everyone.